Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? What's going on? Listen, it is Friday. It's Friday, Black Friday. We're gonna have a homeschool coaching while I am sitting here waiting for my son's next game. Right? Y'all come on in here, say hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Let's see what's what's going on, what the deal is. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I figured I would come and do a Q&A. I've been awfully quiet lately, but I figured I would come and do a Q&A for you. If you're here, let me know that you're here. I want to make sure that you can hear me. How about that? Maybe I should do this. Hold on. I'm going to put my AirPods on. Let's see if that works better. But if you're coming in, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. All right. So it's Friday, and we're going to do our free homeschool coaching, right? We're going to do some homeschool coaching. Hopefully everybody had an amazing Thanksgiving. Ours was great. It was busy. I am exhausted. I am tired. And now we're at soccer. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know what it is, right? That's what my life is, soccer. Kids sports. Hey, Kamika. Hey, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me. Do me a favor, if you're coming in, go ahead and invite some people in here. Let's get some people going. I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you. Make sure you're all good, you're all gravy when it comes to homeschooling. I know about this time of the year for me. How about this? I'll just speak for me. For this time of the year, I typically get really, I don't want to say I'm not exhausted, but I'm almost over it, right? Like, I know at this point it's time for us to take a break. I'm over all of the, come on, sit down, get your work done. Let's sit down and do this. Why do you have to do this? This is the reason why you have to do it. Like, I'm over the whole thing, right? The whole ball game, the whole shenanigans of it, right? I'm over all of it. So if I'm the only one, cool, but I doubt that I am. How do you guys feel at this point when it's time to homeschool? Like, what's going on with y'all? Are y'all in that same standpoint where you're like, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm sick of all of this. Let me know. If I'm alone, then I'm alone. I don't think I am, though. I don't think I am alone. But you get to this point, like right around this time, especially if you started around the time that we started. We started in, when did we start? We started in August. And around that time, y'all, it's hot in here. I'm trying to get some air flowing without having the sun shining on the camera. Let's see. Let's see if it works. We'll see. Yep, see, Octavia. Hey, Octavia, thank you so much for joining. Octavia says, I'm over. Yeah, about this time of year, everybody kind of gets over the whole homeschooling thing. And I think it's just, to be honest with you, with the holiday season coming in, and then you go so hard in the paint when it comes to like when you first start getting started, right? You have the most optimistic outlook. You're like, this is going to be great. This is all going to work out. You know what? I've got this curriculum and it's going to be amazing. I researched it. It's going to fit. And we're going to do this, then this, right? So in the first few months, you go so hard in the paint trying to make sure that everything is running according to the way that it's supposed to work. And then come, October and November, you're starting to get really exhausted because things are not working according to the way that you hope that they would work. And so that I was muted. It says, we don't have a set schedule still, good and bad, that comes with that. So we don't feel overwhelmed at the moment in the year. We even do lessons on weekends or evenings, depending on the mood of the day. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I get it. Can you hear me now? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Something happened. I got a thing saying that it lost connection, but I'm hoping it can. If you can hear me, let me know. Okay, great. That was my fault. It connected, it muted it for some reason. Marissa has a great idea. So for us, we can't, with our schedule, there's a lot of things that are non-negotiable for us in our house So for us, we can't really fly by the seat of our pants because my boys have training and they have practices and all that good stuff. If we fly by the seat of our pants, what'll happen is we won't do schoolwork. And because our life is so weird, especially with the different practices, somebody trains sometimes during the day, somebody trains in the evening. Sometimes there's games in the evening, sometimes there's not. Like, we won't do what we're supposed to do. So I have to set some type of schedule, like, to get things done. Otherwise, we won't get it done. Like, I wish that we could be that way, to be honest. Stephanie, I'm so sorry. I'm glad that you guys can hear me. I appreciate it. Let's see. Octavia says, for me, it's the holiday and the weather. We're in Michigan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're ready. Hey, Portia. Yeah, you're ready to chill. I get that. It's different for us. And part of that, I think, too, is I don't want to say it's busy work because it's not necessarily busy work, but right about this time it's like I get in my mindset of, like, I try to focus and schedule things or pick things and say, why am I doing this? Like, what is the purpose of me doing this? Why am I teaching this? Why am I being so strict with that they have to learn this? And I find myself around this time reevaluating a lot of stuff that I thought was important that necessarily may not be important anymore, right? And so I try to keep the things that they enjoy and they like. Like right now, they're liking the physics class that they're taking. But then it's like I have to reevaluate and determine what we're going to do. For instance, my senior has, for years, I've been trying to get her to do some type of dual enrollment, do the CLEP test, something like that. For a moment, she was doing CLEP tests, and now she has finally decided that she is going to do dual enrollment. So now my focus has shifted and changed for her to do dual enrollment the last 6 months. And so now I'm like, why are we doing this? If it's not going to help her get to her end game right now, which is dual enrollment, then what are we doing? Why are we here? Right? Marissa says, my kids are also younger, 10 and under, so we don't do structure until 8 years old, which I think is absolutely amazing. So basically, from what I understand, just speaking for her, but she can correct me for sure if I'm wrong. Basically, they are living life, right? And learning via play, doing regular circumstances, and whatever opportunity presents itself to learn. They're learning. Maybe they do have some type of formal type of situation, but most of this looks like they're not doing too much of a structure, which is great, is an absolutely wonderful option for you. What I would akin that to or attach that to would be more so like life schooling, where you're living life, right? And you're using those opportunities that are in life to teach your kids the basic things. And I may be attaching something to her that she is not. I'm 100% sure that she will correct me if I'm wrong. But there are different ways to homeschool your children, and that may be something that you need to look into right now when you're getting burned out, right? So instead of doing the structured book work, having to have workbooks, having to have that, when it becomes to the point where you are burnt out, it may be an opportunity for you to change it to that life school or even unschooling. Now, unschooling is not for us and our family. I'm going to be very honest with you, because they have a mama who will just chill and won't do what she's supposed to do. Like, I do best when I'm very structured. And my kids do really well when they're structured as well. But if they are not structured, that's when we have the most problems. And again, we get the things like, oh, I want to watch TV. Oh, I want to play video games. Oh, I just want to lay around on the couch. I want to go outside and play, all those good things. And so I understand that, but because my kids are older, that's not really something that they can do right now. When they're younger, maybe, but not right now. Marissa says, yes, cooking, reading, music, chores, caring for animals, etc. And then more traditional subjects when they hit 8-ish. Okay, so I was correct. And that is a perfect way to start, right? So, and she's been homeschooling from the beginning. She has young kids, but so until 8-ish, they won't sit down and do the formal book work. So even if, though, you were, say, for instance, you were my kids' age, right? You had kids my age, 17, 15, and 11. Almost made him 14. 7, 15, and 11, you could also do that type of situation as well, right? You could go to the point where you say, you know what, I'm worn out, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. It's a lot for us to be homeschooling moms, to be very honest with you, right? It's a lot. We put a lot into it. We put a lot of research, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and then we're always stressing about making sure that our kids have what they need. And then we're still trying to take care of the house, and we're still trying to take care of our husband, and we're still trying to be a good friend, a good sister, a good member of the church, a good, teen mom, whatever. We're still trying to do all of that stuff in the midst of it. And so when you get to that point, right, where you're here, and this is the space that I'm in right now, like, I'm tired, right? how can we maneuver, how can we change things and make it so that our kids are still being educated, but also that we're not wearing ourselves out. And so life schooling is a prime example of what may be an option for you. Okay, so instead of the formal book work, maybe you do the formal book work for math, right? Or the formal book work, you're still doing your reading and your reading comprehension. But in the other thing, the other side of that, you're doing life school. You are living life and learning as you go. Okay, let me get in these comments. Let's see. Marissa says, and preach, structure is good for kids, but not at early ages, my researched opinion. Yeah. And I I agree with you with that, Marissa. I think for me, it's hard for me to understand. I only say that because for me, and for my kids, I know that if it came down to it, structure is probably the best thing for us. But I wonder what my kids would be if they had more freedom to kind of learn and do the things that they wanted to do when they were younger. If we gave them that opportunity longer, free spirited, free thinkers, free mind, what they would be able to do, what they would be able to accomplish. So that's a very good point. Kamika says, yes, a better routine for my child. He needs structure. I have unschooled enough and changed up math curriculum. Yep. Octavia says, yes, it's a lot, girl. It's a lot. Octavia says, you're preaching now. Marie says, my very best friend with some age kids is ultra structured and it fits their family wonderfully. Yeah, I mean, it fits us, right? So, and even with us, I try to have a structure. So for us and our family, I try to say, okay, these are the subjects that we're going to study, or these, what do you want to study? You want to study this? Okay, so let's include that in here. But these are what we're going to study. I have to be strict on get your schoolwork done, or you can't participate in your sports or anything like that, because what my kids will do is they will wait till the last minute and try to rush through their schoolwork to get their training, right? So they love their sports, they love their soccer and their basketball, and they will try to rush through things to get to let me get to math, or no, I'm sorry, let me get to training, let me get to practice, let me get to this, and then they'll have to do their schoolwork. So for us, I have to say to them, these are your school assignments for the day. Get those done before it's time to leave for practice or training, or you can't go. And that works for us, right? Because they will push through. And then I have one kid in particular that I have to double check his work, because what he'll do is he'll half answer his stuff or half do things because he's concerned or because he's excited about what's to come. And so what I'm saying to you with all that said is find what works for you. For Marissa, she has young babies. No structure is amazing for her right now. For us, if I gave my kids no structure, nothing would be done. But that doesn't mean that they can't have a different type of structure, right? Like it doesn't mean and there's different levels of structure, right? It doesn't have to be strict. It doesn't have to be, exactly this way. You figure out your tailor-made fit. Homeschooling can fit anyone, anywhere, anyhow. It's a matter of what works for you and your family. Let's see, my 7-year-old has functioned very well unstructured. My 17, 16, and 13 are structured and unstructured at the same time. Yeah, and I think that's normal for teenagers to be somewhat structured and unstructured at the same time, to be very honest with you. I just think that's just kind of part of being a teenager. Unorganized and organized, unless you have a child who likes to be organized or something to that effect, that's kind of normal of them, right? Marissa said, and girl, you're doing the absolute most with the options in front of you. The person I gave you and the unique humans in your care will change as my kids and circle. Yep, exactly. You're absolutely correct. You're correct. So in the midst of when you're getting tired, like today, this week, if you're in my Facebook group, then you heard me flat out say, your girl's tired, right? I'm exhausted. We had a catering gig. It was a lot of work and I'm tired. The kids were supposed to do schoolwork Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. When Monday came around, I was exhausted. The kids were exhausted. I was like, nah, we're not doing it. We're just going to take off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll pick up next Monday. So we'll pick up where they left off next Monday. Everything we missed, we'll just scoot it on down to this next week. And that's the flexibility of homeschooling. So unless you're doing something like where you have to turn in the grades or something to that effect, then you're good, right? You can pick and choose what works for you and your family. Grant yourself some grace. I would say that's most important. I would say that you need to also, if you need to take a break, notice and pay attention to yourself and your body and your mind and your spirit. And if you need to take a break, take a break. And if that means you're concerned about the kids missing schoolwork, if that means that we're watching National Geographics, if that means that we're watching whatever, what's that thing? I want to ask my son, he's over there, but I think he's asleep. But there are different things that you can ask or use in order to educate them, right? If it means, you know what, we're just reading today and then you guys go outside and play in the backyard. If it means, you know what, we're just going to go for a hike today. And we're going to notice nature. We're going to notice the things around us, and then we're going to come home and chill. If that means we're just going to come up with a plan and we're going to cook dinner together, and like whatever that means for you, be in tune with yourself and in tune with your body. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're not good as the homeschooling mom, no one else is good, right? So we can put on a front. We got it all together. I'm the world's best homeschooling mom. I good. Everything's together. I've got it together, right? But in the inside, we are cracking and we are falling apart. And in those moments when you're cracking and you're falling apart, it's time for you to step back and pick find out what's going on. One of the things that I always pick is what has to be done and what can wait. Like, is it it can wait, or is it has to be done right now? And if it's something that can wait, then it's important for me in that moment to allow it to wait, right? Not to be hyper controlling and say, I don't want to make it wait. I want to get it done right now, even though mentally I cannot control that. Like, I can't do anything with that. You guys, this is Q&A, so you're more than welcome to ask whatever question that you want pertaining to homeschooling. But I'm talking about basically us being worn out and tired, and knowing when we're worn out and tired and doing what we're supposed to do to make ourselves okay. Okay. And it's difficult. Like I said, we all go through it, right? We all go through it. There's so many different facets of it, and we have to manage so many different parts of our lives. It's not, and my husband's in the car next to me, child. But so I'm about to be messy. Let's see what he says. Something he might say something, he might not. He might not even be listening. But the husbands get to think about the family in a grandiose kind of thing, like, right? Like, everybody's taken care of, the wife's taken care of, and she's going to take care of everything else. Um, Us as moms and as wives, or partners, or whatever the case may be, we have to be concerned with everybody's detail of their life, right? Like, all the details. We literally have to manage. For us in our house, there's 5 of us. So I'm managing 5 lives, right? I'm keeping up with calendars, making sure everybody eats, making sure everybody's good, has everything that they need. While our husbands are not so much involved. And I would say for me and my husband, more so, it's me. Like, basically, I tell him, you need to be here or we have this at this time. This is what time we need to leave the house, or this is what time we have to be there. Versus me, my thing is, and he's just like, okay, I just need to be ready to go. Or, okay, I'm headed to wherever I'm going. Where us is more like, do you have your uniform A? Do you have your uniform B? Do you have your water? Do you have your ball? Okay, did you grab some snacks? Because we're not going home in between the tournament. Did you do this? Did you do that? Oh, what are we going to eat for dinner? I don't know what we're going to eat for dinner. Okay, like, we're literally managing everybody in the household. And so in those moments when we're managing everything, what are we doing to protect our minds, our bodies, and our spirits? Mercer says, oh, I'm in it, girl. It's a hard personal chapter. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. How do you get back on track after taking time off? So, Stephanie, it depends on you, right? For us, it depends on how big of a break that we will take. So we only took this week off. Our kids, our family, we will jump right into it, right? Wherever we left off, we're going to pick up. I'm going to actually have to review, I know for sure, physics before, because they have a test, the next thing that was coming. So they had 2 review days, and then they had their final chapter test on Wednesday. But because we skipped all those days, we're going to have to review. So we're just going to review the first couple, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then do the chapter test on that Friday. But it depends on your family and how it works for you. Us, we're jumping right in, right? We're picking up where we left off. But if you get to a point, right, that you can't jump right in, I would say start with a couple subjects at a time. And that's how I do it when we take our break in the summertime. So we take like a month and a half off during the summer. Instead of me jumping full-fledged into a full school day, I typically start with a couple of things. So I'll start with reading, I'll start with science, I'll start with math. And as the week progresses, or the next week, I will add on more subjects. And that depends on you. Again, that's how do you function? How is that? What works for you in that mind? Okay. In that situation, should I say? Stephanie, it's 100% up to you. How does that work for you? For us, like I said, we just jump in. Okay. We just go. Let's get it. Okay. I know you don't want to be back at school. I get it. I'm tired. I don't want to do it either. Get back to work. Like, let's go. But again, mine are 17 and 15 and 11, so I can have that conversation. When they're younger, it may be easier and best to, ease into that situation. Okay. So, what works best for you and your family, Stephanie? Jumping right in, is that going to be helpful? Is that going to work for your kids? That's a question that you need to ask. You know your kids better than anyone else. And that's the blessing of being a homeschooler, is that because you know your kids better than anyone else, then you can say, like I can say to my kids, we're jumping in full fledged, let's roll. But I know that if, like years ago when my kids were younger, jumping in full fledged would have sent my whole house into turmoil. My kids would have been crying and upset. We'd have had a rough day. They wouldn't have wanted to do this. It just would have been a really like push pull type of situation. So we wouldn't have jumped into it. So know your kids. You know your kids. How will that work for you? Okay. Also, I want to caution you not to jump back into it too fast if you're not ready. So, say for instance, I'm still tired, right? I'm still exhausted. We did a bunch of orders for Thanksgiving yesterday, delivered them, all that good stuff. And so I'm tired, and now we have a tournament. But come Sunday night, right? If I'm not feeling better about the situation, if I'm still exhausted and I'm still tired, then there's a possibility that we may just ease into it on Monday. We may not jump right back into it because I know me and I know my kids. But we'll play it by ear. Right now, we're scheduled to start on Monday, right, to get right back at it. But it may be to a point where, again, because like for instance, right now, everybody's off on Black Friday, maybe joining their families, sleeping in, doing whatever the case may be. Child, we're at the soccer fields, right? And we're going to be here for a minute, and then we'll be at the soccer field tomorrow, and we'll be at the soccer field again on Sunday. And so resting is not necessarily, it's not necessarily happening right now like it should. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. Marissa says, I like giving options to my kids. Would you like to do math now or spend 15 minutes on the piano? So, Marissa, there you go. Marissa says, giving options. I cannot give my kids options. They'll be like, no, I don't like either of those choices. But hey, work it out. And then another thing, too, guys, is Marissa was saying that they don't have very much structure. There may be days that they do school in the evening times or on the weekends versus the weekday. Homeschooling is literally educating outside of the box. So, for instance, her doing school in the evenings or the weekends may work in that moment, but it may not work later on. Does it work for you? Find out if it works for you. You may get up and say, you know what, we're going to have a lackadaisical this morning. We're going to get up, we're going to chill. Maybe we'll go for a walk. Maybe we'll sit outside, get some fresh air, and then we'll start our day. Maybe we'll start with yoga. Maybe we start with a workout, whatever it is to get our day started. There, you have to think outside of the box. Somebody says, I have a newborn, 2, 8, and 13 years old. The 13-year-old is one that will act like the world is ending if we jump back into school year. Yeah, and I can imagine. And Stephanie, again, you're going to have to grant yourself some grace because you do have a newborn, right? So your life, your family, the way you run things typically has completely changed. And so it may be, instead of jumping right back into it, it may be, and that's another thing too. Side note, I talked to this, I think it was Cindy that maybe mentioned something in a live early a couple of weeks ago. Cindy Williams, and she was talking about her work schedule and how it was hard. And so what we did for her was I suggested that she did a subject a day. And so after working her shift or doing whatever, she did a subject a day versus doing all of the schoolwork every single day. So she did multiple lessons maybe in a particular day or something to that effect. Will that work for you? Will that work for your family? Your 13-year-old doesn't want to jump right in, which is, I mean, typical, short if they're a kid who truthfully enjoys homeschooling or wants to learn. Most kids are going to fuss about getting back to work. My daughter's 17. She's pretty laid back when it comes to things, but she'll complain about like, oh, I got to get back to school. And then she'll just get up and go do it. Like, oh, let me get this over with. So, I mean, I think that's normal. I don't think your 13-year-old is being abnormal in any kind of way. Maybe have the conversation with your 13-year-old because this is their journey, right? We've graduated. We've had our whole education thing. We're good. But this is their journey. Maybe have a conversation with your 13-year-old. Like, I understand that you don't want to do schoolwork, right? I understand that you would prefer to chill, and I get that, right? But there's a part of our life where we have to get stuff done. For instance, I don't want to be at the soccer field, right? But this is a part of my life. I have to do This because my son has committed to, we've committed my son to play. And so I understand that you don't want to do this, but what would make it better for you to do? Would you like to do it at a different time in the day? Would you like to get your day started differently? Would you like to try a different schedule? And that's another thing too. So the one subject a day, or maybe you do a couple subjects in the afternoon and a couple subjects in the evening. For us, one of the things that we have to do, my kid, he hates math. He does not like it. It's challenging for him. And so because it's challenging for him, he doesn't like to do it. What we agreed upon was, you know what, let's do math first. Okay. We're going to get the one thing that you hate the most done first. And then we can chill and take our time on everything else. So have that conversation with a 13-year-old. I understand that you don't like it. I get it. It's totally normal. I get that. How can we make this better? How can we make this better? Hey, don't hit my car. You gotta use the bathroom? Where is it at? Well, come on. Tell dad so he knows you're gone. No, what? I don't care. Whatever. Let's see. Marissa says, "Yep, we're going to drive to get chickens on Monday morning. The car ride will be a vocab DVD, and we'll do how are, that it's up front. We're gonna have to drive. I don't mind driving him. Talk. It's him that doesn't want to do that. Talk to your dad, Mason Joe. Go over and talk to your dad. Don't hit my car, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let, let me. Y'all, I'm live, and my husband and kid are having a full. Yeah, it can be whatever it is that you need it to be, right? It could be whatever you want. Let me know if you can hear me. I had to turn my car on. Dad and son were having a conversation that I was too embarrassed for y'all to hear. I don't know if you heard it, but it was bad. Guy stuff, let me tell you that. Um, so anyway, um, things to think about, Stephanie, back to what we're saying is I understand you don't like it, right? I get it. It's justified that you do not like it. I get it. I understand, right? As an adult, there are things that we do that we don't like. We just flat out don't like. It's just a part of our lives. We're going to have to do things that we don't like. So, what can make it better? What are some things that we can do that's going to make it better for you? So that's the type of conversation that you may want to have with him is what or her, what, what type of conversation or what kind of thing, what can we do? Okay. Is it, let's get up and make a nice little breakfast for us? Is it, okay, let's start with math, but maybe we're doing math in a different way instead of curriculum, right? I told you guys all the time, I try to teach my kid fractions, and he was having a hard time with fractions. And the way that he ended up understanding fractions, which I think is absolutely amazing. And it never would have occurred to me until later on. But I don't even think it would have occurred to me. I was trying to teach him fractions and he was having trouble understanding fractions. The way that he understood fractions was us making oatmeal. He had to make, we like old fashioned oats, right? So he had to make oatmeal. And we have a rule in our house: if you're cooking breakfast, then you offer everyone else in the house if they'd like some. So like, um, you, if you want to, y'all, my husband and my kid, it's terrible. It's so terrible. Um, if you have a decision to make, hold on, because they have jarred me. My husband and my kid have jarred me. If you have, y'all, if you have a, so for instance, let me try it again. So, for instance, my kid was having a hard time with fractions. Let me get back where I was. The way that he learned how to do fractions was with making oatmeal. In our house, we have a rule that if you're making breakfast, you have to make it like ask everybody else if they want some. Like you can't just make you some breakfast and then everybody else is sitting there. Just be considerate and offer, right? And so he was making oatmeal for himself and he offered to make oatmeal for the family. The way that he learned fractions was by multiplying the fractions that it took, doubling, tripling, quadrupling the recipe so that we could all have oatmeal. That is what tipped him over the edge, and he understood how to do fractions. But before that, he had absolutely no idea. He didn't know. He was struggling with fractions until then, y'all. My kids, y'all, I can't even tell. Listen, I cannot even tell y'all what they just did. It's terrible. Let's see. Yep, we're going to drive to get chickens on Monday morning. The car ride will be a vocab DVD, and we'll do astronomy and writing later during my daughter's ballet class. We'll set the expectations the night before. Okay, there you go. I love that you speak expectations, but then leave the room for them not like a subject. It's okay to not like it, right? But we still doing it. Exactly. Yeah, it's okay. Like, you want them to understand that it's normal, right? Like I don't like everything that I do as an adult. We don't like everything that we do, right? There's tons of things in our lives that we do because we have to, right? We know that. And since we know that, then they need to know that as well. We need to have that conversation with them as well. Like, I get it. I understand that you don't like it. Y'all, this camera view is killing me. Is that better? Maybe I should move. I understand that you don't like it, but we still have to do it. Okay? We still have to do it. I'm going to move, y'all. Y'all, it's a day. I'm just trying to function right now. Let's see, Marissa says, I think my husband will love fractions if we use, yeah, and that's another way that you can learn as well. See, that's not even better. I tell you, I'm just trying to live life, y'all. Hold on. I think it's the sun is going down and it's weird. Let's see if that's better. Okay, I think that's, no. But yeah. Yeah, we use fractions. We did what did we do? We did, what did we do? What did we do? What did we do? We did the big cookie thing is what we did, and it wasn't clicking for him. He was struggling with it. I think he thought it was way harder than it actually was, and that was part of the issue. But does anybody have any other questions as far as that's concerned? It's live Q&A, kind of random. The sun is beating me up. I'm trying to do right, and it's not letting me. I don't know what to do. I'm parked all weird in the parking lot. Very inconsiderate. Nope, that's not going to work. I don't know, y'all. But I can't see my face, which means that y'all can't see it. Let's see if that works. Oh, that's better. Okay, stay here. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. That's better. Okay. So again, this is live Q&A. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask them. I'm sitting here on the not on the soccer field, but in the parking lot of the soccer field, waiting for the next game to start. But again, we're talking about burnout, right? We're talking about what happens when you're burned out, and jumping back in and all that good stuff. Y'all are more than welcome to ask whatever questions you need to ask. Does anybody have any more questions? If not, I'm going to jump off of here. It has been a productive conversation. Hopefully, I've helped you in some kind of way. I want you to know more than anything else that being burned out with homeschooling is normal. And part of that is because, y'all, we try to do too much. Moms, we try to do too much. We try to take on too much. We try to make things perfect. And it's hard breaking ourselves of that habit and realizing that it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And that we don't have to do all that. Again, a good question to always ask yourself when it comes to homeschooling is, why am I doing this? What is the purpose? Why am I teaching this? Or why do I feel like they need to learn this? What is the purpose, right? Like, flat out, just asking yourself. When I do, like, even with the physics, and this is me being honest, with the physics course, like, me in my mind, I was like, why are they learning this? Like, what is the purpose? Like, they're not necessarily going to need it unless they're going a specific path, is what I was thinking. That was what my mindset was. And my kids were like, no, like, we like it. I want to know about this. I want to learn how to build roller coasters and how all that works. So for us, the physics class, although it wasn't required, for them, it was something that they wanted to learn, they were interested in. So that's what my why was, okay? Even in math. So my kids in math, my oldest kid is like, why am I, doing this? Why am I working on this? I'm like, well, you want to do this. And in order for you to do this, you're going to have the basics of math. Like you're going to have to get a degree, you're going to have to be able to pass math. And I always tell my kids all the time too, you don't necessarily have to be able to pass, and well, maybe not pass math, but you don't necessarily have to be great in math, but you have to be able to find the help or get the help that you need to be able to pass the class, right? So I don't use all the stuff that I learned in algebra and all that stuff now, right? I don't use that now. But back in the day, in order for me to do what I needed to do, which was pass the class, I had to be able to ask questions and be willing to learn and understand what was going on. And so I tell my kids all the time, you don't have to be perfect in math. Sometimes math just clicks to people, sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay. If it doesn't click to you, cool, that's fine. But what you have to be able to do is be able to, figure out that it's not clicking to you and then be able to ask for help from somebody who does, who it's clicking for. So all right, y'all. So I'm going to jump off of here. That's all I have for you today. Listen, if you are struggling in homeschooling, if this is you, you are burnt out, you're tired, you're not sure what to do, go to my website. I do have the one-on-one coaching sessions. They are online right now for the entire weekend. They are 50% off. So you can get a 1-hour coaching session with me for less than $50. And basically, we can do whatever you want to do. You can pick my brain and do one-on-one questions. We can do a customized lesson plan. We can figure out what curriculum you like, curriculum you need. We can do all of those things based off of what you want to need. But all of the coaching sessions right now are 50% off. I will post the link in the comments. Let me see if I can do it now, child. But take advantage of this, to be honest with you, because it is the lowest that it has been ever, I think, like ever. I'm trying to do some stuff, right? But yeah, those coaching sessions are available. You have an absolutely wonderful Friday. I was going to say Saturday. It's Friday. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.